So when I came in, that business had about 90 accounts. Like it was like I said, part-time deal. We went from like 90 to 300, 300 to 600, 600 to 1200. And we just kept compounding every year for 6 years. So when I left that business, we had around 2,000 customers, close to $1 million in revenue.
What does Clicki do, and why should people care about it?
This goes back to all the way when we were running the lawn doctor business. Like we didn't have money for sales and marketing. And then finally we started growing, and then Google and Thumbtack and Home Advisor were taking all the money, and it hasn't stopped. It's only gotten worse in like a year or something. It was like kind of wild.
Welcome back to another episode of Marketing Without Rules, the show where we inspire business owners by bringing on guests who exemplify the hunter mindset. They make moves, they color outside the lines, and they have found creative ways to channel the attention of their community into currency. This show is sponsored by my agency, Blue Crocus Solutions, a web design and SEO agency. I am your host, Vandervalk, and today I had the awesome pleasure of chatting with Kendall Hines. Kendall is a lifelong builder and entrepreneur who began his journey at 21, taking over his family's lawn care business, scaling it to over 1 million in sales within 6 years. He saw a gap between offline lawn care services and the digital world and launched his first software company, ServiceBot, which was acquired in less than 2 years by Real Green and then acquired again by WorkWave. And his curiosity and passion for solving real problems just led him down a journey of finding solutions to problems. And today he's the co-founder and CEO of Clicki, a referral platform that helps small businesses activate their customers into powerful referral networks. Now, we talked today about his journey. We talked about what Clicki does, the software, the referral software, and talked through how you can use it in your business. Sit back, listen, take some notes if you can. Kendall, I'll actually get you to tell that story. I find that guests often tell it better than I do, but you've done some really cool things. And just give people a little background on who you are and what context and credence you bring to the industry.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Really appreciate you having me on the show. So my name's Kendall Hines, co-founder, CEO here at Clicki Referrals, but I got into the industry. My story is really interesting, actually. I didn't start in software. I kind of fell into software. And it all started, my dad had bought Lawn Doctor franchise, which is a lawn care company, still is. And I grew up on the truck with him, since I was 8 years old, like riding around in the truck. And he had it as like a part-time side business. And the only thing that business needed was sales and marketing. So when I turned 21, I went to college, like dropped out, came home, and was like, what am I going to do? And I just committed myself to like learning how to sell lawn care. So when I came in, that business had about 90 accounts. Like it was like I said, part-time deal. We went from like 90 to 300, 300 to 600, 600 to 1200. And we just kept compounding every year for 6 years. So when I left that business, we had around 2,000 customers, close to $1 million in revenue. And during that time, we just got so good at lead gen that I'd come in Monday morning, and if anybody has a high growth business, leads come in over the weekend, customer service requests, you've got 30 voicemails, like all this stuff. And I'm like, and especially lawn care, like in the spring and a lot of seasonal businesses, you make all your sales like within 6 months. So there's like, you have this really interesting thing where there's like nothing going on and then everything's happening all at once. So I was like, we got to be missing sales here. Like how many of these people would have just signed up online? And honestly, I probably would have gave them a little bit of a discount anyway, because literally nobody has to talk to them. And ultimately the idea was like, why can't they just sign up online? And so we built a company, turned into a company. At first, we just built it for ourselves. It was called Lawn Doctor Instant Quote initially. And then my buddies that owned lawn care.
What year was this, by the way?
That was 2018, 2017.
Cool.
Around there. So we built that tool for ourselves. And like, I'll never forget the day when we made our first sale online. And I went to my wife and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be huge. Like if it worked for us, it could work for anybody. And like, maybe this is the business. Like I really enjoy sales and marketing. I've always been kind of technical and hacking on things all the time. So I didn't know anything about software, and all my buddies started, hey dude, that LawnBot thing's pretty cool. Like, so we called it LawnBot and grew that. Come to find out, I started selling it, had a stack of contracts, found my technical co-founder, Eric, and we turned it into like a real company. And we grew really fast. We, got to about 50 to 60,000 a month in recurring revenue in like a year or something. It was like kind of wild. It was just totally different than like running a home service business. The problems are different. That was about the time we were looking to raise some money to continue to accelerate growth. And then at the time I had a good relationship with the whole Real Green team. For any of the listeners that aren't familiar, it's a green industry CRM for like lawn care, chemical, pest control companies. And he said, well, what if in investing in you, we just buy you instead? So they were owned by private equity at the time. And this is when valuations were pretty frothy, and kind of blew my mind. I'm like, wow, this is like insane. Let's see how this goes. And at the time we used Real Green at my company. So it was kind of surreal too. It'd be like a jobber coming to you and be like, hey, like we want to buy your company. So it was really cool. Like it was an ideal fit. And then 6 months later, after we sold, a bigger company called WorkWave came in and bought Real Green. And that was just like another big learning moment, like going from working at a 7-person startup to 1,300 employees. I don't come from the corporate world. So trying to navigate that and operate inside of that was really interesting.
So did you stay on with Real Green and then stay on with
it was part of the terms of the deal and the earnout and everything. And we, in LawnBot, for anybody listening, is like basically Shopify for lawn care companies. Allowed them to sell their services online. Customers could go get a quote and pay all through the website. And this was 6 years ago. Before it's super prevalent today, and there's a bunch of AI tools now that do it. But back then there wasn't a lot out there. That's why I built it for ourselves. And then, worked at WorkWave, and then that kind of brought me here to today. So when we left, Eric and I, after the earnout was done, we were like, well, what's next? And basically from my time in the green industry and talking to friends and just seeing it, like there's almost no CRM that focuses on how do we turn one customer into many, and how do we make referrals simple for customers? Because I know when I was running my own business, the referrals were really complicated. We were sending Visa gift cards through the mail.
How do you attribute it to the right people? And
the ball gets dropped, and customer calls in and was like, I referred 3 people to you and I never got my bonus. All pissed, right? So we were like, okay, well, maybe we can solve this. And so we started pulling on that thread a little bit. And then, it was off to the races from there.
So that brings us to Clicki today. Really cool story. I mean, the ultimate solution for the industry.
It's kind of long. We just covered about 10 years there, but it all kind of, basically, I think about this as like my life's work. It is like when I was running the lawn doctor business, there would be days like where, like in the early days, like we had like 100 or 200 customers, right? And like we had this like PO box that we would go check for checks, right? And like hoping a check would be in there so you could like pay your bills, right? So the fact that lawn doctor business now is like $2 or $3 million in revenue, my brother bought it, and him and his wife continued growing it and scaling it. I'm just super proud of them and everything that they're doing. But I think most people in software don't come from the industry. Like if you look at a lot of the other software solutions, they're by tech people in Utah, like they've never actually had to hire technicians or sign the back of a check or the front of a check. So I feel really blessed and thankful, but it's been a long journey. And I think I was meant to be in the software industry. That's just where all my skills kind of align.
Super cool. Yeah. The best solutions come from a real need, right? You built a real need. You built a solution for a real need. Then you locked it in. And now you're building another solution and have built another solution. So let's talk about Clicki. What does Clicki do? And why should people care about it? You kind of explained the referral conundrum, ultimately we all want word of mouth, blah, 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 but there's no way to really monetize it.
Yeah. We're going to go really high level for a second, then come back to, pun intended, right? On the little high level, we're going to go really high level there for a second. So this goes back to all the way when we were running the lawn doctor business. Like we didn't have money for sales and marketing. And then finally we started growing, and then Google and Thumbtack and Home Advisor were taking all the money. Like and it hasn't stopped. It's only gotten worse. So literally, like, if you want to grow today, you only really have a few options. Like, we're going to go buy AdWords. We're going to go do LSA. We're going to go run Facebook ads. We're going to go pay Angie's List, Home Advisor, Thumbtack more money. And because they have all the attention and the eyeballs, they basically have a monopoly. So it's, especially in local markets where that's the only option for everybody, they're all competing for the same eyeballs in the same space. So who's the big winner at the end of the day? The big winner is Google. So my thought is like, how can we live in a world where small businesses can grow like they used to before all this? And, I mean, some of our customers pay upwards of $200, $300, $400 to acquire a customer today. And when the problem with that is, like, when they're paying that much to acquire a customer and that client's only worth $600 in revenue in the first year, that means less money for bonuses, less money to invest in the community, hire team members, maybe take some profits out for themselves. So that's the really high level. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do next? What is one way that we could generate leads at a lower cost? Referral programs. It just so happens almost every referral program that companies have kind of sucks today, because there's not a good system in place. So
you feel good about it at the beginning, and then it just kind of peters out, and it's like, well, we have one, but like nothing's really happening.
But it's a lot. Yeah, exactly. So they, at best, it's a Google sheet with like a form on a website. But basically, we looked at the whole process from the time a referral is generated to what happens to that lead. Where does it go? How do we know it converted? Once it converts, how are they, like, we broke down every step of the referral process and just tried to make it totally frictionless for the brands. But ultimately, it's like, I think as we think about Clicki today, it's referrals, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop there. Like, I think we have a lot of ideas around how, like, where this is headed and how can we help small businesses generate more leads and opportunities at a lower cost while keeping the marketing dollars local in your own community. So Clicki today is a referral system. It helps any brand launch a beautiful referral program for their business, uses their logo. It's on their domains. It allows their customers, their partners, and you can even incentivize your employees to generate leads and referrals for your business. And Clicki handles everything from the tracking to the payouts, to the 1099 liability, to the making it beautiful and easy for people to share their referral link or submit a referral. So that's what we do today. And it's pretty fun. Today we have 300 companies and we're adding about 20 to 30 a month. And I was looking at our graph and I was like, wow, this like is another big growth graph. I think we've really tapped into something that a lot of people feel. And I hear it on every demo. They're like, our Google ads are getting more expensive. The results are going down, and we're trying to diversify our lead flow strategies. And that's almost every client I talk to. So I think that's why we're growing so quick, is people are thirsty. And then, you'll appreciate this, is AI search is kind of shuffling the deck too. So it's no longer the 10 blue links at the top. It's like, hey, GPT, like, I need lawn care. Here's a problem in my lawn. Like, can you recommend? So I think it's good for us, and it's good for the companies, and it's good for their customers. It's like a win-win-win scenario there.
That's the trifecta. So let's say you are Joe's Lawn Care, or let's pick Joe's junk removal. I've got a pretty big audience in junk removal, and you sign on with Clicki. Let's get tactical about what that actually looks like. What happens, not from like the setup perspective, but like, how do I actually use it? What does it actually do for me? And how can I, incentivize my team and, contractors that I do some work for, stuff like that? How can I incentivize them?
Yeah.
And how does Clicki take a lot of that?
So a big part of it is hooking up to a CRM of some sort. So typically junk removal companies I've seen on House Call Pro or Workies or Service Titan, that kind of thing. So an ideal world is like, Joe's junk removal goes out, completes a job, marks it complete in the CRM. Within a few seconds, the customer's getting an email and a text message saying, hey, it's Joe's Junk Removal. We just delighted you today. We pay you $50 for every friend or family member you refer to our business. Click here to start referring now. And it's a magic link. They tap the magic link. They're logged into the portal. They can begin typing it in and submitting their referrals, or they could share a referral, like a personal referral link to Facebook or text it to friends. Now, their customers are generating referrals for them on autopilot, by the way. Like, the company didn't have to remember to ask. It's just all kind of happening in the background. From there, referrals come in, and Clicki can push those leads and referrals into some sort of CRM. So maybe back into House Call Pro or back into Workies or high level as a lead.
Yeah.
The company works the lead just as any other lead off their website. And once it closes, we have a couple different reward triggers companies use. Oftentimes they actually use a service completed trigger, not just sold. And that kind of avoids paying out a referral bonus on somebody that was sold but not serviced. So we would usually want to connect it there. But then from there, let's assume that referral gets serviced. Clicki detects that and then issues the referral bonus automatically to the referee, completing that whole loop without the company ever touching it. So from there, their customer gets a notification that they just earned a referral bonus. They tap the link, which brings them back to the portal, and they can pick Venmo, Cash App, Amazon gift card, Visa gift card to actually like receive their gift. But that's really simply how it works. Is like usually we love hooking up to, some sort of CRM or source of truth software to tell us like who just signed up or who's a customer. And that would be a really easy example of that.
That's huge. That's huge because then it takes all of you talked about the Google Sheet, right? The Google Sheet where you're trying to attribute, Sally referred over Beth and we did Beth's work, but we forgot to pay out Sally, or did we pay out Sally? I don't know. I can't remember. Did someone take that, gift card?
Yeah.
And it just becomes a mess.
Yeah. And that's the customer flow that we just talked. Now, I think the interesting part I've seen on Clicki is people are building partner programs. So B2B referral programs. So if I'm a junk removal company, who's probably a good referral partner, probably a real estate agent, that's working with new homeowners, going out and getting real estate agents in your partner program, giving them a unique link that they can share with homeowners. And same thing, all the tracking is maintained because we're already tied into your source of truth software. So lots of creative ways that we see people using the software. We had one company this year, they just launched, first year in business. They got to 1,300 customers, $650K in revenue while spending $0 on traditional digital advertising. It was all referrals. About half of those sales were referrals and the rest was like community marketing and doing home shows and trade shows and local stuff. And like, that's the exciting. And of course they can't do that forever. At some point you got to, I'm not saying it's all or nothing, but like, that's really interesting that they got to 700K in revenue without spending any money on Facebook or Google ads. Cause that's not usually everybody's first move is like, oh, let's go spend. My brother spent $70,000 last year on Google ads. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
And
it's not typical to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's talk through the partner program because I think that's a really interesting play. B2B is really important. B2B partner programs are really important in any industry. Junk removal is a great one, to highlight that. But how would that work? You mentioned the realtor. So we give them a partner link and then basically they get a referral bonus every time one of their client, in the case of the real estate agent, one of their clients would become a customer. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So from the realtor's perspective, they would be working with homeowners just like they normally do. And hey, here's a referral link for Johnny's junk removal. You can get 20% off with my referral. Here you go. And the real estate agent could either share a link with them. The real estate agent could type in the referral information. And there's a QR code option in the promoter app that we'll, go over here in a second. But yeah, exactly. They submit homeowners and the referees get some sort of special offer. The most common thing that we see, you probably see this on Airbnb or Chase or any of these big businesses, is it's called a two-sided referral program. So the referrer gets something, the referee gets something, and we've seen that be most effective.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the promoter side. I know you guys just launched some new stuff there. We've got it up on screen here if you're ready to rock through that.
Yeah, totally. This is the new promoter app here. So I think what's really cool about Clicki is it's fully white labeled to the businesses using us. So if you're using our software, we'll actually have your company logo here at the top left. It makes it really easy and beautiful. So basically you think of when they click the link after the job, they land here all without logging in. So we know who it is. Hello, Kelsey. Refer friends and earn.
So for those following along at home, he's basically got pulled up on the screen and we've got video on Spotify or YouTube if you're watching this on the podcast later. He's got, Pelican Pest Control. It's branded for them. And then Kelsey, I'm assuming, has just had a job done by Pelican Pest Control. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. That's the workflow that we would be seeing.
Killer. So basically she gets $99 for every successful referral and she can enter their info. So I'll let you carry on from there, but just wanted to include people in there.
So we watched the data and about 60% of people's first referrals come in from just self-submission, meaning I know somebody and I'm going to quickly type in their info and like click submit. So we designed the experience and the workflow around that. If they click share link, it gives them options here, right? They can share to Facebook, they can email it to somebody, they can copy and paste it into Instagram, Nextdoor, that kind of thing. And then a QR code if they're face-to-face, or what we've heard is like people that own, think of a hairstylist that owns a brick and mortar studio. They'd be able to print this, download this, paste this QR code anywhere, and then get incentivized when people sign up, because a QR code is basically just tying back to a link. So right now it's on.
Why did you mention a hairstylist in this case? Because my mind just went somewhere, and I'll bring that up. But I'm curious why you mentioned a hairstylist in the case of
my wife owns a lash and brow studio.
Okay, and she obviously uses this, and then she prints it out and gets people to use it.
Yeah. So in her case, they have a QR code at like the front desk talking about the referral program. I was giving an example what I've heard from other of our customers, where a hairstylist would be able to display her personal QR code for another business.
Yeah, that's where my mind went. It's like, the hairstylists, I just got my haircut yesterday. And if they had that there on their little, right in front of the mirror, you're looking at for 30 minutes, and it's bound to come up in conversation.
Right.
My mind's going a bunch of places.
It's like mini advertising. I think I've seen that idea. Other people have had that idea.
Well, I know my hairstylist has a couple business cards. I was doing some hobby stuff 6 years ago where I would build like little blacksmith crosses, and I gave her my business card, and I got a couple of sales off of it. People would just see it there while they're getting their haircut. Awesome. And I'm like, man, interesting how you could like turn this into something that's like catchy. They scan it while they're getting their haircut and they're bored or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I took us on a tangent, but I appreciate you hearing us here.
So yeah, we built this to be fully desktop and mobile optimized. That was a big part of launch week this week. One of the days we talked about, believe it or not, the first version of Clicki was not desktop optimized. Like when, as a startup, you only have so many hours to spend. You're like, where do we want to spend it? Well, when we were looking at early data, it was like 60% of the promoters that like interact with this program, they were on phones. So we're like, okay, I mean, it worked on desktop, but it wasn't beautiful. So they were like, we'll come back to that later. And that's exactly what we did here. So now it looks beautiful on desktop and mobile, and, lets people really quickly make referrals, share their referral link. There's an FAQ section where the company can customize the FAQs around their program. So every company is a little bit different. Like, what is our referral program? What counts as a successful referral? How should I promote? Who can I refer myself? When do I get paid? Right? All the FAQs that somebody would want to know. We got the My Referrals tab, which it allows them to actually track all of the referrals that they've generated for the business. So you can see this person, just submitted 7 referrals. There's leaderboard. So the customers can actually kind of compete a little bit, makes it a little competitive, makes it kind of fun. They can easily cash out from here. So when she earns some money, she'll just tap cash out, and she'll pick whether she wants a Venmo or Cash App, Amazon gift card, Visa gift card. And they can also edit their notification preferences. So like if they don't want text messages or they want emails and they can do all that themselves from here.
Very, very cool.
And then we had feedback from customers. It was like, hey, could we get our customers' faces to show up on the landing pages? Like when they share their referral link, if I just share this here. Yeah. So when she shares her referral link, when Kelsey shares her referral link with a friend, the friend would see this. So very Pelican cool. Pest Control requests more information through Kelsey's referral link to earn exclusive benefits. So they fill out this form, that lead gets generated, that referral gets tracked back to Kelsey in this case. You're able to do videos and Google
reviews. Are pests causing problems in your home?
Pages as well. So which we highly recommend.
That's awesome.
The Instagram.
Yeah, so it's like a little sales page, basically. A little sales landing page.
It's all tied around conversion. Like what makes you guys special, really highlight the family-owned and operated aspect if that happens to be your business. It gives you a chance to tell your story and give them a reason to fill out this form. Now, my recommendation for Pelican in this case is what they should be doing is offering some sort of incentive for the referee. But in this case, they're not. I think they could be more aggressive with some sort of CTA here, like get $50 off your first service, or, get a free home inspection with Kelsey's, whatever. Even if it's not discounting your service, you can add value in other ways.
Makes it stickier to sign up on Kelsey's link rather than just give the company a call.
We want the name, email, phone number to start building our first party data. So even if they don't buy today, like they're on our list and we keep hitting them until they, are ready to buy.
That's amazing. Very, very cool. So the promo that I was going to say is we are going to be rolling out Clicki for Blue Crocus. So we've got some awesome referral partners. We've got one guy that sent over 5 leads this week.
Wow.
And, so, it's very exciting, and we've been tracking them manually, but this will allow us to give a lot more flexibility. Like I'm in Canada, right? So I don't have Venmo and Zelle. And so it's always a little bit funky to send out referral bonuses. It's like PayPal's our main thing, but some people don't even use PayPal anymore. It's kind of like eBay. Not a lot of people use eBay
surprised anymore. On the back end. I thought in the States here, everybody would be choosing Venmo and whatnot, but like there are a ton of like Amazon gift cards and Visa gift card cash outs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I found that really surprising.
So yeah, very, very excited. And that's, I connected, shout out to Phil Risher. That's how I connected with Kendall originally. And I was like, we had a call. I was like, we got to get you on the podcast because this stuff is so, so important and such a way to turn your word of mouth into word of mouth on steroids, on crack, basically, as the title of the stream says, because, nothing speaks more than, that, mom who wants to get some Christmas money or whatever. And she knows a lot of people and she knows people that need your service and she probably loves your company and you may as well incentivize her to continue to be a spokesperson for your company.
Oh yeah, totally.
Very, very cool. This is an awesome dashboard.
Yeah. Thank you. This is, so a big part of this too, and I don't know if this will show up on stream, if I can collapse it down. Oh,
yeah,
well,
we can see it. Yeah,
nice.
Very cool.
So on a phone, we put a lot of time and effort and emphasis into this. It was like the user experience, like as soon as they tap the magic link, they land right here. Like there's no question. They don't have to scroll, no nothing. They can either submit a referral, they can share their link, or start sharing their QR code right away. Like you would be surprised, like to make it look this simple, like so much obsession went into that. And then to get it in a state where now it's like we built it using AI tools, like the design. So we don't have a designer. Like we take customer feedback. We use a product called VO to mock up like a prototype. We go back to our customers and we say, hey, what looks good? What doesn't look good? So we go through this quick, rapid iteration cycle. And then finally, once we have the finished product, now we can actually give it back to the devs, the dev team, and then they take the vision, make it all work and be beautiful and connected. And so, yeah, a lot of effort went into this to make sure that we want to shorten the distance between somebody wanting to make a referral and then like being able to. So that goes back to magic links. That goes back to this, where everything is boom right here on a phone. It wasn't this user intuitive with our first, it's called MVP in software land. Like it was
minimum viable product.
Yeah. For the listeners out there, like they say, if you're not embarrassed by your first version, then you launch too late, which is crazy. Yeah.
I was just watching some reels I did a couple of years ago, and it's embarrassing. And I was like, well, I guess I'm living up to that standard here. Can you tell people specifically what a magic link is?
Yeah. So if you think about like a normal link, you click it and
joesjunkremoval.com.
Yeah. Like in the old version of Clicki, they had to click the link. They landed on a login screen where they had to type in their phone number and then a code hits their phone and then they're logged in. Now people did that and they made referrals, but we were like, how can we make it better? Well, what if they just tapped a magic link and they could instantly start referring? And that's where we're at today, is like basically the magic link knows who they are, so they don't have to log in.
It automatically takes them to their page based on the information in your CRM and everything.
So we moved the authentication from the beginning, which is where it's most friction, to the end of after they earned a referral bonus. So they don't ever have to auth in until they actually say, hey, I want my $100 sent to Amazon gift card.
That's awesome. What would you say to someone who's like, oh, this is great, this is fun, referrals are great, but like, I don't really need it? What would you say to convince them otherwise? Or it's like too much work to go through all of this?
Yeah, some people don't. I mean, we, believe it or not, that's an objection. They're like, oh, I'm fully booked and this and that. And like, great, good for you. If you're building a business and you're profitable and you're happy, like that's fine. I think the brands that really buy into this vision and need this are like high growth brands, where basically if you're not growing, you're dying. Like there's just a natural attrition to any kind of business where if you're not pushing growth, eventually you kind of fizzle out, and no growth is not a good thing. So what we see is a lot of our customers, they're doing more than $500,000 in revenue. They're typically using a CRM, and they have big, audacious goals. Like they want to have a $5 million business. They want to have an $8 million business. They want to be the number one company in their market. Like those are the types of companies that we want to work with. So my job is just to talk to as many of those people as possible and spread the Clicki gospel that way. I think it's a hard thing to try to convince somebody because we get some naysayers on calls sometimes. They're like, oh, why would I need to do that? Like, I don't pay any money for marketing now. Well, great. You're probably not a good customer for us because you don't know the pain of paying Google $5,000 per month. Yeah. Like until you have to do that to grow your business, then you'll realize how much of a value add our software is. So yeah.
Well, and for those listening after, once we develop this into the podcast, there will be a link below. That'll be my magic link that you can sign up and you'll get a discount or a little cash bonus just for jumping in with Kendall. So I become a referral partner for Clicki. I use it for Blue Crocus. Our customers, we're going to get some of them on. There's a couple businesses I'm partnering with. We're going to be using this for one locally, one out in California. So it's really, really cool. And it answers I'm a huge proponent of SEO and websites and all of that stuff, right? But that should be a percentage of what you do. You should be out there working the community, building those real relationships. So if Google or Facebook ever go down or whatever the new thing is, you still own a percentage of your marketing. You should be taking advantage of every channel. But if you're not owning your community, owning your referrals, you're missing out and you're dependent on something that could go away, just like that, overnight.
Yeah. The healthiest businesses that we see, they want to do everything and they want to do it great. I want to do SEO. I want to do PPC. I want to do LSA. I want to get my referral program cranking. I want to have a partner program. I'm going to trade shows. I'm putting out lawn signs. I have an inside sales team doing telemarketing. Like the high growth businesses think like that. They're like, I want everything in my toolbox dialed in.
Yeah. Alex Ramosi has something where he just continually approaches people. They're like, I think I've tapped out my market. He's like, really? You really think you've tapped out your market? Have you done this, and this? And he's like, you haven't tapped out your market. Go out there and work harder and do more volume.
Yeah, totally. There's always more to do, right? There's always more to do. So
the constant thing. What would you leave listeners with? Maybe a nugget from your business journey. Doesn't necessarily have to be referral specific, but what would you leave listeners with as it relates to marketing and going out there and hunting and not just sitting back and gathering their leads?
Yeah, I would say this is a great time of year to do this, by the way. Like thinking about your 2026 marketing plan. I know that when I was running the lawn care company, we kind of did a look back on what went well this year and then writing like setting the number of growth that we want to do. So if we did 600,000, we want to do $1 million next year. Well, how are we going to get from 600 to $1 million? Well, we need to get 450 new customers at this customer value. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do Google. We're going to get our referral program cranking. We're going to get launch. So we reverse engineered our growth goals for the year. So this is a great time of year to do that. And what I always wanted to do is be omnipresent in the marketplace. They're seeing lawn signs, and then they see us on a neighbor's lawn, and then they see us on Google, and then they see a referral link in a Facebook group from somebody that shared one through Clicki now. So I just want to be everywhere, like all at once, especially in these kind of high seasonal businesses where most of the sales are made within that power. We call it a power window in the lawn care world of spring. So this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it and get things dialed in. So when the busy season does hit next year, then you have everything dialed in and ready to go. So
you've got a whole army of people in the Facebook groups. You've got people, real estate agents. You've got a whole army of business referral partners, all of that are working for you. And then it's just like, you really hit the ground running in the beginning of the season. Junk removal is pretty seasonal too.
And here's the best part. Now you have a system in place. So when you have, let's say you have 750 promoters or customers and it's Labor Day and you want to do a blast out to all of them to remind them about your referral program, you can just send out a reminder, using Blue Crocus and remind them about the referral program, give them the login link, and boom, like there's a system there. And it allows you to scale. If you don't have a system, you can't scale.
Awesome. Kendall, this was great. Really appreciate you jumping on today. Really appreciate the nuggets here. Guys, if you haven't checked it out, click the link down below where we'll have a link that you can jump in my promoter link for Clicki
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and jump on a call with Kendall and see if it's a good fit for your business. He walks it through. They've got a whole system where they'll set it up for you, integrate it with your CRM and everything. So get out there, make connections, and don't sit back. Don't sit back and wait for leads. Go out and find them and get some promoters building them for you. Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys. We will talk with you on the next one. Cheers.